Hey everyone, Dr. Nicola Ducharme here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I consider three of the big pillars of chronic illness. And, I work a lot with Lyme disease patients. And so over the years, I've come to sort of see and learn more about the variety of things that are going on for people. And working with functional medicine, I've always thought of it as my job to kind of find the underlying cause. So a lot of people go on with health problems for years and years, many times not getting accurately diagnosed. And with this sort of, lengthy symptom list, but at the same time, broad symptoms and overlapping health issues. So it's hard to figure out like where one thing stops and another thing starts. And in Western medicine, we separate the body into all these systems, right? So the neurologist gets one part, the psychiatrist gets another part, the rheumatologist gets another part. And so a lot of people get these tests done that are specific to that system, but it's still not really getting to the underlying cause. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about it today. And then I am going to do a more in-depth training on this same topic next Monday, and I will post the information about that. It will be in my wellness community on Facebook, so Dr. Nicola's Wellness Community. If you're seeing this on another page and you're not part of the wellness community, I will post the link. We would love to have you in there, so come on over and join. I'm going to start doing some exclusive trainings in that community in the next few weeks here. So the three pillars. Lyme disease, and I would sort of include with that like chronic infections. I'm mostly talking about tick-borne infections, but I'm certainly including the co-infections of Lyme under that umbrella. Mold toxicity and heavy metal toxicity. And they are the three biggies that I see being really at the crux of the matter of so many people's health issues. And there are a lot of things that sort of, go pear-shaped, like as a secondary consideration. Like a lot of people with thyroid issues and Hashimoto's and other autoimmune type things end up, if they dig long enough and investigate long enough with the right practitioner, ending up finding the underlying cause even of that to be chronic infections or toxicity. And so, adrenals get all of whack, reproductive hormones get out of whack, neurotransmitters, our brain chemicals, can get out of whack, and that can cause people to have anxiety and depression and insomnia. But we still have to take it even further and get to that underlying cause. And so when I started working with Lyme, this is like 2005, it was sort of like, okay, we work with the Lyme, and the complex patients had Lyme and co-infections, right? That was complexity 15 years ago. And I'm not saying that these other things didn't exist 15 years ago. I think we've just got more aware of them as the years have gone by. And then from there, I am seeing so many of my Lyme patients with mycotoxin illness. So with chronic mycotoxin, which is the toxins that come from molds, toxins in their body that they can't detoxify adequately. And then the third piece being the heavy metal toxicity. And the primary ones I'm seeing are lead and mercury. They're the two biggies. But we also see cadmium and aluminum and tungsten and some of these other metals that we're like, where the heck did that come from? I had one patient who tested around like 150 for mercury when the level's meant to be like less than 7 or less than 8. So as we've progressed, I think as a profession, like integrative practitioners that treat Lyme, certainly I can speak for myself, as the years have gone by, I'm recognizing more and more the importance of these other factors. And so for me, people primarily come in with Lyme as their primary, just because that's kind of my specialty. But more and more now, I'm addressing these other things in my patients. And if people aren't recovering the way I hope them to or expect them to with the treatments we're doing, there's always one of these other factors in the way, and sometimes both. And so that can get really overwhelming as, someone sitting there, as my patients often do, and say, oh my gosh, I've got Lyme, I've got mold, or, heavy metals, like, wow. And that can be overwhelming. I'm not one who thinks that you have to treat one thing at a time and only one thing. I do like to chip away little by little at a combination of different factors, like whatever factors we find. And this will be different in different people, because some people are really, really sensitive and have to go very, very slow with microdoses. Other people are like, no, just give it to me. I'm fine. I can keep up on the protocol. I'm not getting any negative reactions from it. And so when I do the training, I'll sort of talk a little bit more about how I treat these different issues. But I guess the point to make is that there are individual things, individual treatments specific to each one, right? So somebody with Lyme is going to require some kind of antimicrobial treatment at some point. Whereas someone with mold toxicity, that's not going to require antimicrobial treatment. And with heavy metal detox, we use like DMSA and EDTA and things that don't necessarily have as much of a place in the other two pillars. However, what I would stress, and what I do stress to people, is that there are some common grounds. There are things that we can do that support the three of them at the same time. Most notably, number one, supporting the body's detoxification and reducing toxins in the body as much as possible. And then number two, managing the inflammatory response. And inflammation is an integral part of all three of these things. And toxicity is an integral part of all three of these things. So yes, there are some more specific treatments for each one. However, there is common ground. And what I try to do with people and encourage people to look at it this way, that let's look at what we can do that helps everything, right? So infrared sauna helps everything, like detox helpers, like glutathione and milk thistle and things like that. They would have a role. Anti-inflammatory herbs, for example, would have a role in all of these things. Looking at diet and nutrition has a role in all of these things. Okay, so there are ways to kind of condense and find the commonalities. And then there are sort of the individual treatments that need to be done depending on which stressor is coming up. So there's a number of ways to evaluate for that. I use urine testing for mycotoxins, urine testing for heavy metals. I'll talk more about this in the training when I have a bit more time. And I do blood testing for Lyme and co-infections. There is a urine test for that as well, though. So sometimes we do the urine testing in conjunction with the blood work. Sometimes we do it separately. Certainly right now, with everybody being on stay-at-home orders, any test that can be done at home using urine samples is going to be preferred, because it then doesn't require a blood draw. So it's sort of good. It's a good time to get those kinds of things done. So that's just a little snapshot of kind of what I look at when I've got someone who has chronic illness, and the sort of three big pillars that I try to identify. And it's really hard to tell them apart because there's so much overlap in symptoms, right? So someone has fatigue and insomnia and brain fog, and their joints hurt, and they have neurological issues. That could be Lyme, could be mycotoxins, and it could be heavy metals. So part of it is just trying to discern, and this is where I think the testing is so valuable, trying to discern what stressors are present in each individual. But, just to say that they're the three things that I see the most in my patients as being like foundational. And then all the sort of secondary effects, the adrenal fatigue, the thyroid issues, the, digestive issues, all the other stuff that kind of falls apart when those major stressors are present. So hopefully I will see you on Monday in this training. I will post the link. It will be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but I will post that information, and I look forward to seeing you there.